Good day. My name is Lebum Tembu, and this is Africa Talks Business, live at the ESG Conference at the Santon Convention Center. We are currently joined by Ms. Evelyne Serro of Safaricom. Ms. Serro, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much for having me. Glad to be here.
Thank you. What do you hope will come out of this conference?
That's a very good question. So with this ESG conference, my hope and aspiration is bringing the ESG conversation back home, making it as practical as possible, and especially I hope other than just having the big corporates, government participating, if the big takeout for the people within the conference can be practical skills and practical solutions they can embed within their businesses, within their homes, and within their daily lives on what ESG actually looks like. So breaking down the big terms into practical solutions.
Right. And why do you think ESG is so important for companies?
The reason I think ESG is very important for companies is it's not just the right thing for a business to do by embedding that within the business, but another thing why ESG is important for organizations is it helps align your business to a greater thing, which is purpose. So you become a business that's not just geared towards focusing on profits only. Yes, you need to have a good balance between shareholder capital and creating value. Mm-hmm. But once you start from a purpose conversation, it can help people, one from your workforce perspective, it helps them answer the why. Why do I wake up to go to work every day? Is it to transform lives? Is it to create solutions? Is it to solve societal problems? Mm-hmm. Then over and above that, another key advantage is for a business is you end up building a sustainable business that outlives you. Not just a business that's here for now, the next 5 years, but a business that will be here for the long term. And of course, when you get people, when you get the planet, aspects around the planet right, the profits will follow. So I believe when you're looking at the ESG component, if you're to look at and start on it from a purpose perspective, once you unlock and nail that, the profits will actually follow, because everything will align, and even as you're developing your products, your solutions, your services, they are geared towards solving a societal problems. And over and above that is you're walking the talk on ensuring you're leaving no one behind. So as a business, you're not just growing alone, you're bringing along other people within your value chain. You're bringing along your communities, you're bringing along other businesses, and creating change.
Now, I remember when I was watching you in there, you emphasized how ESG is the right thing for businesses, it's the right thing for them to do. There is value in doing the right thing. There is profits in doing the right thing. So what do you think are the benefits of an ESG strategy for a company?
So the benefits of an ESG strategy for a company, one, it provides you a good opportunity to always ensure that you're creating continuous improvement by leveraging on opportunities. So continuous improvement in this sense, and if I can give Safaricom as an example, is you have looking at our ESG strategy, it is tied very closely to our purpose strategy. So we have ESG targets. So we have targets, and with these targets, it speaks on what commitments do we have as a business to the environment? What commitments do we have to the business around social? What commitments do we have around governance? So from an environment perspective, we're looking at reducing, being a net zero company by 2050. Yeah. So by looking at this, we're looking at how do we ensure that we create a sustainable business, and we do that the right way. So from our business is we have base transceiver stations. Being a telecommunication company, we have BTS sites across the country. So we have 5,000 sites, and those sites are running on generator and diesel. But the responsible thing around that is transitioning to renewable fuel. And with those sites is we are transitioning the sites gradually into solar and wind power. Then the other thing we look at around social is how do you ensure, and sorry, still around the environment, is even as we reduce our own emissions as a business, is how do we help society decarbonize? So here is you'll find you have initiatives around electronic waste. So for consumers out there, is we provide our offices and our shops as drop-off points. You can drop off your electronic waste for safe disposal. Then if you look at the social aspect, we have diversity and inclusion. So how does diversity look like in the workforce? And it's diversity within the workforce, diversity within the supply chain, and even how we show up within the communities. So here we have targets around women in leadership, for instance, and we're looking at achieving 50% male-female split in leadership by 2025. How are we tracking right now? We are at 40%, and this is the first time Safaricom has achieved 40% women in senior leadership. Then we're looking at, when you look at supply chain, we're looking at dedicating 10% of our overall spend as a business going to the special interest groups. These are women, youth, and persons with disability. So it's in coming up with deliberate initiatives and interventions to ensure that we have more people participating, you bring along more people. So is it in having dedicated targets around the youth? Youth are very innovative, but they will have challenges around access to financing. So what instruments can we come up with, can we negotiate with banks to ensure that you get favorable financing when you're setting up and starting your businesses? Is it in providing you with the information? Is it in providing you with training so that you know how to tap into these opportunities? Then when it comes to governance, is doing the right thing, ensuring that we are running an ethical business. We're looking at our board diversity, which we are also getting it to be at 50-50 also by 2025. How are we tracking right now from a board diversity perspective? We have 45% are female and 65 are male, but we're looking to grow that to 50-50. And ensuring that even from a legislation perspective, we follow the laws of the land and we go over and above. Yeah.
Thank you. What do you think are the top ESG risks that Africa is currently facing? And perhaps you can extend this to the world as a whole. And how do we go about addressing those?
The biggest risk top of mind is the risk around climate change. And for the longest time, when you're speaking about the climate crisis, it used to feel like something that's happening in the West and not something that's happening back home. So if I can give an example back home in Kenya and especially the East Africa region, the last 3 years we've been hit by severe drought. And looking at this drought where we've had failed successful rain patterns, where the weather is no longer as predictable, and we now have to look at it from a point where we have to come up with what innovative solutions, self-help can we put in place to address that. So things like tree logging, that's been happening where you find a lot of the people, it was coming from a point of you need the fire, you're cutting trees to either earn a livelihood, you're cutting trees maybe because you need that for fuel. But now we're looking at what alternative solutions can be provided. And from an organization perspective is we are supporting the government even in the reforestation agenda, and for us we're looking at planting 5 million trees by 2025. So it's not by planting trees we will address the climate crisis, but I believe that is just one of the small things that we can do, and if each of us does their small thing, and I like using the analogy of be the hummingbird. With the hummingbird, they went to the forest and a forest was on fire, and the hummingbird wanted to go and get a drop of water slowly by slowly and put out the fire, but the other birds kept asking, you're just a little hummingbird, what can you do? So for us, if I believe the opportunity is if each of us can pick on that one small thing that they can do, collectively we will make a huge difference. But climate change is what I see as the biggest risk, and the time to act is now. We have to find out our local solutions and come together, collaborate and partner to address that.
Right, and even Vuyo was mentioning how it's imperative for us not only to just collaborate now, but act now as a whole. Ms. Serro, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much for having me. This was lovely.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Thank you.